Welcome to Popcorn Playback. Today we recap the thriller horror film Spree. Before we get to the storyline, like and subscribe for more recaps and have a great day. Kurt is a person who has been attempting to get viral on the internet for years. On his channel, Kurt's World 96, he performs everything from Draw My Life videos, to gaming reviews, to shoe reviews, to discussions of his favorite keyboard keys. Also on display is Kurt's father, Chris, a DJ who is long estranged from Kurt's mother. Kurt's mom was devastated by this, so he made the selfless decision to move back in with her and start babysitting to make ends meet. However, Kurt's video views have never broken into the double digits, no matter how often he posts new content. Different from Bobby, a boy Kurt used to babysit, who is now a viral sensation thanks to his channel, Bobby Basecamp. Kurt considers Bobby a buddy, but Bobby treats him with indifference and even shoos him away from his own camera. Kurt has finally had enough of his channel's lack of success after 10 years and is ready to give it one last try with a new series called The Lesson, which aims to instruct viewers on how to build a fan base on social media. Step 1 of the lesson, he says, is to stock one's vehicle with as many cameras as possible and as many water bottles as possible. Kurt's first passenger in his new vehicle as a driver for the Spree ride-sharing app is a man who refuses to wear a seatbelt and is wary of the cameras, but Kurt assures him that they are only for safety. Kurt is concerned that his live streaming audience, currently only Bobby, will be damaged by this man's prejudice since he preaches the gospel of white supremacy. Kurt tells the Grouch to take his free water and shut up about it. Turns out, someone poisoned the water supply, and Kurt even created a video explaining how to do it covertly. As the man coughed his last breath in Kurt's backseat, he turned on some music and drove past the stop sign. Kurt's one and only watcher, Bobby, is convinced that the murder was staged to attract attention, but he doesn't mind. In fact, he considers it as part of the lesson that no one should know at first that what he's doing is true because he wants to carry out as many as possible without being discovered. A snarky real estate agent who left her sign in the trunk is the next person to arrive with Kurt. She initiates a search for a water bottle after some small talk, and she ends up being Kurt's second victim. Kurt joked that he might even drink the water when he shows the corpse off properly on video. Chris contacts Kurt at the very time to hitch a ride, but Kurt abruptly ends the connection. He then goes about covering his tracks by, for example, answering a text with a harsh message so the woman is an anticipated at work meeting, and unlocking her phone using her dead face and giving himself 5 stars on the transportation app. When Kurt finally disposes of the corpse, he is about to pick up his next passenger, an obnoxious method named Mario. Mario objects when Kurt attempts to play some of his own music, and he also refuses to drink the complimentary water. Then, despite Mario's protestations, Kurt makes a detour to pick up another passenger, opting to use the pool instead. The passenger, stand-up comedian and social media celebrity Jesse, cancels the ride after hearing Mario make a pass at her. When Mario tries to dissuade Kurt from following her, Kurt reluctantly agrees and even offers to drive her for free. While they're in the car, Kurt finds out that she has a massive fan base and asks her how she accomplished it. She tells him that her secret is that she is hilarious. When Jesse finally gets sick of being harassed by Kurt's repeated requests for assistance and Mario's more explicit advances, she videos the entire incident for social media before getting out of the car. Kurt is disappointed that he missed out on the opportunity to connect with a real influential figure, so he abruptly alters his plans and takes Mario to a far-off construction site. Mario is car sick because of how quickly he's been going, so Kurt makes him get out of the car. In spite of Mario's complaints, he exits to use the restroom, and just as he does, Kurt blasts his own music extremely loud and accelerates up so that he may crash with Mario at high speed, sending his corpse flying through the air and landing on the front window for a spectacular bloody camera angle. After disposing of Mario's corpse and washing the car, Kurt discovers that Jesse is performing stand-up comedy that evening. He interprets this as proof that he and Jesse are meant to be together on this special night. Kurt is obviously not yet popular since he only has a handful of viewers and receives tips from only one person, Bobby, who believes the deaths are staged. That's because he's a phony artist who likes to pull pranks on the homeless and whose claimed gesture of kindness was staged for the cameras. Nothing like the homeless and approachable Jesse, for whom so much admiration is held. After a brief argument with Bobby, who tells him he's boring and that he needs to spice up his stream, Kurt stops at the gas station where he removed the realtor's sign and fills up the tank. After the blood is removed, Kurt follows Bobby's advice and drives dangerously for his next guests, a group of socialites consisting of Richard, Kendra, and London. While Richard and Kendra are scared to death by the manner Kurt drives, London is thrilled to be going on an adventure and eagerly moves to the front seat to have a conversation with them. Eventually, Kurt veers off course once more and takes Richard and Kendra to a junkyard, encouraging them to hang out the sunroof because the scenery is so picturesque. Richard and Kendra join in, and they are having a good time, but then Kurt speeds up, closing the sunroof quickly while his music plays in the background to capture his next victims. Suddenly, several junkyard strays pounce on Richard and Kendra for a meal, and Kurt grabs a power drill from his car to use as a weapon against London. Kurt washes his car and then contacts Bobby for his thoughts, but Bobby missed the triple murder. He stopped tuning in since Kurt no longer piques his curiosity. Bobby advises Kurt he should be more like Jessie since she comes off as genuine, when Kurt questions why he hasn't given him a shout out yet. Kurt revisits Jessie's social media, but his envy leads him to criticize her in the most petty ways. For example, he may point out that Jessie doesn't even record her tales in a vertical orientation. While a resentful Kurt goes to a suburban home, Jessie visits her grandma and takes good care of her while filming the visit for her social media accounts. She is concerned when the doorbell rings when no one is expected, but Mike, another stand-up comic, only wants to talk shop. As it turns out, Kurt is paying Bobby a visit, and Bobby is telling him to go because they aren't working partners or friends. All of this happening live on camera for his viewers to overhear. As Kurt draws closer demanding aid, Bobby taunts him, leading Bobby's viewers to Kurt's stream to watch his side of the conflict. When Kurt's stream finally hits double digits, he abruptly stabs Bobby with a knife. Bobby pulls out a revolver in self-defense, but Kurt eventually overwhelms him and murders him, even if his audience believes it's all an act. Kurt goes viral by broadcasting from Bobby's channel and recording himself taking a shower to wash away the blood and rummaging through Bobby's belongings. Just then, his dad sent him a text asking for a ride to a concert. Kurt first declines to assist Chris since he would rather see Jessie in concert, but when Chris reveals that he will be meeting a renowned DJ, the Chad immediately knows the name, and Kurt gladly agrees to help. When Kurt picks Chris up, the evident awkwardness of the father and son connection leads to an altercation. A fight breaks out after Chris calls his son Bobby for having a gun in the car, and it continues until they have to hide the weapon since the police are on their way. When they arrive to the club, they speak with the well-known DJ Uno, whom they seek for permission to tag in a post on Kurt's channel. She declines at first, but after a while she agrees to do the shout-out provided Kurt drives her to a taco truck. When they do, Uno bargains for Kurt to shoot photos of her while waiting in line at a taco truck in exchange for food. Kurt tells some gruesome tales to keep the people away because the line is long. Uno, meantime, searches the vehicle and, after discovering the rifle Kurt stole from Bobby, uses it to shoot some photos of herself. She then takes a glass of water, which turns out to be one of Kurt's own concoctions, and she promptly blacks out. Uno is dead by the time Kurt returns with the meal, so he throws away the water bottle and leaves the body alone. To make matters worse, the police arrive and demand that Kurt take a field sobriety test, while he lies to them that Uno is his girlfriend and that she simply fell asleep. Uno didn't drink enough to pass out cold, so she abruptly comes to and, upon seeing the police, shoots one of them before fleeing. When Kurt uses the distraction to drive away, one of the officers chase after him. The result is a rise in his livestream audience into the 5-digit range. Kurt desperately tries to elude the police, drives erratically, colliding with the homeless encampment, and fatally injuring many people before flipping his car. Meanwhile, Mike has driven Jessie to the performance, and he keeps bugging her about how many connections he has. Even if he does some opening work before her, no one in the crowd seems amused by it. However, as Jessie takes control of the stage, the audience goes wild and Kurt emerges from the shadows, his revolver in hand. After cracking a couple of her trademark quips, Jessie opens up about her time on the spree with Mario and Kurt, revealing that Kurt's apparent hunger for social media followers caused her to contemplate on her own life. A large number of subscribers won't bring you joy, and the only thing that will come from all of those views is others judging and hating you for their own amusement. At the end of her performance, she drops the mic and smashes her phone on stage to symbolize her independence from social media. After being moved by her words, Kurt tries to go quietly, only to find out that his killing spree has caused the spree service to be temporarily shut down. After using the GoGo app, Kurt is picked up by a kind man named David, who instantly jokes that he is not the insane driver who has been murdering people all night. Kurt takes it personally and promptly murders David. When Jessie returns to the bar, she orders a go-go to escape Mike, who she knows would continue to videotape her even if she gives up social media. Jessie makes fun of drivers in her act, but when David's car pulls up, it's Kurt behind the wheel, and he admits as much. He also lets her know that he was there during her performance and is thus aware that she will be unable to call for assistance using her broken phone. Jessie fights back with a phone charging cord and strangles Kurt until the car strikes a garbage can after Kurt, mistakenly believing that Jessie is defenseless, tells her that he is driving her to his house so that they may show love instead of hatred. Kurt abruptly pulls over and in retaliation punches Jessie, knocking her out. Then he takes her car out front and drags her dead corpse under the beam of his headlights. The viewers vote that he should murder her when he asks what he should do with her. As his fans flood the conversation, Kurt prepares to chase her. However, he loses sight of Jessie when he stops to readjust the dropped camera, so he gets out of the car to hunt for her as the conversation mocks his decision. The crowd was correct. Jessie did seize the opportunity to hijack the automobile and deliberately mow down Kurt. However, the automobile crashes into the side of Kurt's house as she loses control, and he barely escapes harm. He then slams Jessie's face on the airbag in an attempt to murder her, but she pulls him away and Kurt runs off to another room. Chris gets home to discover Kurt's mother dead on the floor as Jessie is on the live stream pleading for assistance and trying to convince viewers that what they are witnessing is true. Kurt then kills her off screen just before leaving to give the lesson, revealing that she was his first victim. Kurt suddenly emerges, takes Bobby's revolver from the car, and shoots his father many times, killing him instantly. Meanwhile, Jessie tries to drive away, but when backing up doesn't work, she presses ahead, crushing Kurt into the wall. Jessie follows the chat's instructions and checks on the body, but she finds that Kurt is still alive. While a flashback shows Kurt feeling like a champ since he had 50,000 people watching, she feels compelled to finish the job by breaking his skull with his phone. Then Jessie complies with the chat's request for a selfie next to the corpse. In the days that follow, Kurt's story blows up online. Jessie becomes more well-known than ever in her role as multimedia queen, while Kurt was reviled by all reporters but celebrated on the seedier airs of the internet such as 4chan and Reddit. As these message boards gets more and more saturated with fans of Kurt, one of them announces that a film titled Spree is now in production. Okay, that's all for the recap for Spree. Thank you for watching.